Lawyers of Reddit, what was your "oh I'm definitely winning this one" moment? I was defending a company being sued for kicking a customer out for being drunk. He showed up to trial. Small claims. Wasted at 10 AM. The judges in small claims are lenient on process. They like to adjudicate on the merits. So we started. He's the plaintiff, so he goes first. Can barely stand during his opening statement. Knocks over his shopping bag full of evidence. Just awful. The court put a stop to it and ruled in my client's favor. The only words I spoke were putting my name on the record. This is peak small claims court and I love it. Beats my second favorite small claims case where the person suing her sister for stealing her ruby bracelet showed up wearing the bracelet. The shopping bag of evidence was what puts you up to number 1. I'd love to have known what his bag full of evidence actually was. Airplane bottles of vodka. He was going to demonstrate how much he could drink without getting drunk. This is going to read like it belongs in r/that happened. My dad saw the video, which was famous at his firm. Workers can't claim for a back injury that seems suspicious, so they sick a PI on the guy after a while, which is fairly common. PI comes back with a video of the guy batting softball batting practice, talking his back over and over. Exactly what he says he can't do. Okay, whatever. People get caught all the time. The camera pans into his shagging balls in the outfield, opposing fucking counsel. So, yep, case dropped and the judge took it up with the bar. So, in my country shagging means to have sexual relations with. Please clarify if opposing counsel was doing the deed with balls in a softball field. Thanks. Not a lawyer. I represented myself in a restraining order hearing, and I was terrified. I was the petitioner and I was in the same room as my abuser for the first time since I'd obtained the emergency order. I felt a lot better as soon as my abuser's lawyer butchered my name, and even better when the judge kept telling him off. Best moment, though, was when he declined to cross-examine my third witness because my other two had destroyed the points he was trying to make. Truck driver changed his story on the stand about how the accident happened from what he had always said previously. Next on the stand, the police officer who had responded to the scene gives this new version too. I asked him on cross when he heard this new version, and he said, in the hallway just before I came in. Oh, I'm definitely winning this one. Wait, so the cop lied to, or was he pointing out the truck driver's lie? The cop had only ever talked to the truck driver because my client was too injured to talk, so he had parroted the trucker's story in his report and found my client at fault. So I think he initially was trying to back up the truck driver since it was kind of egg on his face if the driver had been lying. But at least he was honest enough to admit that the driver had very recently amended his version of the story. Keeping this as vague as possible to not dox myself, but my security camera caught the plaintiff putting a human poop in my mailbox. I can say that having good cameras, including a Ring doorbell, is a godsend. You can have full assurance that, should anything happen on your property, you damn well have evidence to document it. Also, you get the video of a drunk teen at 11 PM skating by at 20 mild an hour and just jumping off the board. It was the funniest shit I've ever seen. LMAO. Best footage we got was on New Year's Eve when a shirtless fat dude who'd painted his stomach with the American flag came run waddling past at midnight. I was representing a rental company for homes. Had to present a case where I had to prove the tenants had been using the house they had rented for an illegal weed farm. They claimed they did have weed in the house, but only for their own recreational use. Apparently there's such a thing as a weed expert, and I asked him to testify about how much weed is considered normal for a joint, how many joints per day a regular user would smoke, etc. Little weed facts, so to speak. With his written testimony I did the math, which I presented during my end statement. With all the weed they had lying around, even if the couple smoked 18 heavy joints a day per person, they had enough for 10 years. That ain't recreational, folks. I knew I had them when I heard the bailiff snort when I presented the numbers. Apparently there's such a thing as a weed expert. I have found my future career, Your Honor. A standard joint has between 0.7 and 1.2 grams of weed in it. Allow me to demonstrate. When the other lawyer got a call on his cell phone while he was making his closing argument to the judge, he told the judge just a second and took the call. Opposing part told the judge to go fuck herself. It can't get any better than that. Notice to fuck this court and everything that it stands for. 1. Of course it is a sovereign citizen. 2. You really need to read the whole thing. This court is a hoe is my new favorite phrase. Not a lawyer, but one time I had to get a restraining order against my ex-girlfriend. She was stalking me after I broke up with her. In retaliation after I filed for the restraining order against her, she filed for one against me. Totally ridiculous since all I wanted was for her to leave me alone. So we had a hearing in court to sort this out, and this conversation takes place. Judge, Mr. Lingonberry, it says in her statement that you attacked her with an axe. Did you attack this woman with an axe? Me? No, Your Honor. Judge, I see. Well, since you've both filed restraining orders against each other, why don't we forego the restraining orders and you two can just leave each other alone? My ex. Immediately. Yes, me, Your Honor. I would still like the restraining order, please. I got the restraining order. She violated it so many times I might as well not have, but I got the restraining order. I was trying a civil case in New Hampshire in front of a salt of the earth jury. In the back row were 4 women. I called a witness who was an assistant town clerk. She came in without a subpoena voluntarily while on maternity leave. She left her baby at home. She was a lovely, well-spoken and articulate woman who oozed credibility and likability. Her evidence was useful to us but shouldn't have been fatal to the other side's case. After my direct exam, the other lawyer decides to tear into her with largely irrelevant questions in the harshest, most rude way possible. After one question which reeked of his assholery, the 4 ladies in the back row all were rolling their eyes and looking at each other as if to say you believe this shit. It was right then and there I knew we were winning that one. When the judge called all counsel back into chambers during trial and told the opposing attorney, the jury hates you. Really hates you. I own a restaurant/bar and we had a young rookie police officer hovering next door 3 to 4 nights a week towards close and he was pulling everyone over for failure to make a complete stop. Obviously most of the people were guilty of a rolling stop. Most people got a warning. But he was trolling for DUIs. One night we saw him parked across the street and my friend was leaving, so I went out and stood there as witness that he came to a full and complete stop in case he got pulled over. The officer saw me standing there and my friend came to a complete stop. Like a really good complete stop. I walked away after my friend was out of sight. Next day my friend said that he had got pulled over after I walked away and had blown a .09 DUI. The point of this story is that, when I was called as a witness at trial, the officer and my versions of the story were absolutely the opposite. When I was dismissed by the DA I asked if I could make a statement. The DA objected, but the judge allowed it, so I said, so if I testify that, insert friend's name, came to a full and complete stop and the officer says it was a rolling stop, then one of us is committing perjury, and I'm confident that I'm not committing perjury. The courtroom grew a little loud with chatter. We were dismissed. The officer resigned a short while after that. Turns out as a rookie, he had a ranking officer that was the bad egg. Riding shotgun and made him make the traffic stop regardless of probable cause. Poor guy getting a tainted reputation from a bad senior officer. A lot of my family are personal injury lawyers. Most of the time when people fake injuries they then post pictures on their social media disproving it. One that sticks out was someone claiming injury in a car crash, I think severe neck and slash or back pain, and then posted pictures skiing. Overall, if you say you can't do XYZ, make sure no photographic proof of you doing them. They can and will subpoena social media places, so even having accounts set to private won't help. Sister worked on a case where the guy was suing for permanent disability while also starting a roofing company under his own name. They recorded video of him moving packs of shingles all day long. Day after day, he posted photos of himself up on roofs on the company's Facebook page. I'm curious, but if you have your pictures set to private in the first place, how would they even know that they exist? They can force the social media site to divulge the information if it's for a criminal case. They know you have an account, and they can do that to find what's on it. Hit and run. My client was the one who got hit. Defendant's defense was, it may have been my car, but I had reported it stolen and it wasn't me behind the wheel of the car. During my client's examination in chief, me, what were you doing at that time? Client, I was waiting for the pedestrian light to turn green so that I could cross the street on the zebra crossing. Me, and did you wait for the light to turn green before crossing? Client, yes, the light turned green, and I waited a few seconds before crossing the street. Right then and there, the defendant jumps up and draws across the courtroom. My light was green to go. That bloody fucking liar dashed across the street. My brother had a case where someone accidentally told the truth after years of lying, realized they screwed up and asked the court reporter to strike it from the record. That is not how it works. I just imagine the record looking like, strike that from the record. This too. Why are you still transcribing? Are they even listening to me? Okay, strike all of that previous stuff from the record. They're still doing it. Obligatory, not a lawyer. My best friend had a custody hearing 2 weeks ago to try and gain full custody of his son. Ex didn't even show up because she couldn't even bother to get the date right. Needless to say, things went his way. Similar, saw a prosecutor ask a defendant, who was charged with pot possession and calling the officer a pig, "Doesn't calling an officer a pig sound like something someone on pot would do?" To which the guy replied, "Sounds like the last thing a guy on pot would do." Found not guilty. Family law case. I'm just a paralegal but I accompany the lawyers to court, or did anyway. Woman. Our client who is divorced. Father not paying child support. He is always claiming poor mouth, saying he has no money, etc. Always getting extension to his money owed. He had a business but said it was doing terribly and he was owing money left and right, etc. Judges had been sympathetic in the past. However, guy comes in. He owed 36k now. For 5 or 6 years back child support. Claiming poor mouth once again. Swears to the court he has no money. Business isn't going well. Shows bank statements. Attorney whips out Facebook post copy I found. My brightest moment. Guy's young hot fiance with her new $20,000 ring. 5.5 carats, and her post saying, "Look what my sugar daddy bought me," and he paid cash. Eat your heart out, ladies. The guy looked like his life had ended. We got our full amount plus interest, and I got a 1k bonus. Turns out he was taking business money and never depositing it, so it wouldn't show on the books. So company looked like it was doing terrible, when in fact was doing great. In a later investigation his business partner sued him and won and the business went under. For those asking, it was a bar room. And also, I hate family law. It's usually that the scumbag wins, or gets away with crap for so long. Male or female? Not a lawyer but I was fighting a ticket. Prosecutor, Crown Attorney, was asked by the judge how certain statute applied to my case, since it was the principal clause being used to charge me. After rifling through the world's largest briefcase full of 10,000 folders for a minute, he looks up and says, "Well, I don't have it on me, but if memory serves, it goes something like this. Fast forward, case dismissed. You have been visited by the smart studying doggo. You'll be blessed with good grades only if you subscribe to Comment Awards and like the video. PG! On top, food chain, won't stop, new game, hot box that blue haze, 1 lock, 2 chains, no bras, 2 babes, mic drop, new stage, lights in my rear view, 5 cops, full race, faster than a Tesla, they say I'm exhausted, looking for success, like I'm crazy and lost it, higher than a jet, guess my weed is a rocket, the comments that my vids get are wild.